I guess we wait to see who else is going to show up.
Yeah.
You're the chairwoman. Your time is passed, so I did. I heard when Amy talked, I did. It might be when both of you have your mics on down there, you'll probably get some echo. Oh, yeah, it's picking it up.
To have 4 for a quorum, right?
Correct.
I don't know how to stop the echo.
Without the mic, turn the mic off. And we're gonna try it, like, if you can just talk into it. Like, no, talk into that mic, sorry, I'm retarded. And see if we can hear you.
You want to do what?
I don't know. So talk into the mic, like, make sure.
I turned it off.
Okay, now turn it back on, sorry, I'm retarded.
Oh, I didn't.
Okay, so then, can you guys hear her if she talks to the mic? Hold on.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, they can.
Perfect.
Oh, barely, Rob said.
It looks like there's about 4 people that have their mics on too.
Oh, everybody turn your mics off if you're not talking, because we're trying to test this out, sorry. Okay. And then, it was weird, because it was totally fine at the very beginning. I wonder if it's because nobody, like, everyone had their mics off, like, on. I mean, sorry. I'm not making any sense. But
Well, we got, let's see. Rick, can you guys hear me now without the echo?
no.
No.
You can try unmuting yourself now that everybody's muted.
Oh, I was mute. Can you guys
Can you guys hear me now?
But it's
But it's with the echo.
Yeah.
Crap. I wonder.
I'll just turn her.
I think it's bearable. It just has that special effect to it there. You know, we'll just have to get used to that. We could barely hear you when you were just going through the mic, though.
Okay, is there an echo now?
Yes. Okay, that's what it is. When you're done talking,
Can you hear me, Wanda and Rob?
Is your WebEx unmuted?
Now it is.
Oh, it's still echoes.
Dang it.
I wonder if all the other things. That's the only reason why it'd be echoing. These are.
I wonder if I push it. Dang. This is like from the outer space.
I agree with Steve, though. I think it's bearable.
Okay.
To operate, but
You have to turn your speaker on. No, not there. That one's on the computer on the bottom right.
Right here?
No, where the speaker is.
Mike, do you know of anybody that's not coming?
no, and I expect Kent Anderson will be here as well because I've talked to him earlier in the week, so I know he will be joining us. Maybe he's just running a little late, so I'm sure you'll have a full quorum tonight.
I can't do it setting, you know. I'm having logging in doing my system change when I'll join shortly. What do you say?
What do you say?
Shortly, it's like quoting change.
talk into it. I'm muted on my WebEx, but now this just goes strictly to YouTube. So I'm like, I'm wondering, because with your WebEx, I wonder if we can just, if you talk in just the WebEx and leave this unmuted, because it'll still pick it up from the TV and mine, if that makes any sense. Leave your microphone off. Yes. And we'll see if that should help it.
I don't think they can hear me. Can you guys hear me?
With WebEx. You can, let's see if you're, yeah, you're unmuted. They can't hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, it still does it.
Ooh.
Yeah, never mind. You might have to have the microphone off.
Shaylee, could you unplug the rostrum mic and just plug it in when the public hearing starts? Or have you already tried that? Oh.
Is that any better?
Kinda. It's fine.
It's more improved.
Well, that's good. Oh, that sounds terrible.
What about if you unplugged, Shaylee, the public hearing mic until the public hearing starts?
So the public hearing mic is my mic. So that's
Oh.
why I have to have it for the recording, but
I say we just go.
okay, that's fine.
Okay, you ready? Okay, welcome everybody to our Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021 work session for the Planning Commission. Oh, that's bad. We're holding this in outer space.
You're stuck here.
We have,
I want to see if it help.
let's see. I think we have all of our planning commissioners on. We're not missing anybody. So welcome everyone. Mike, do you want to do presentations and reports?
Sure, I can do that. I mean, I thought about it. There's not a whole lot to share different than you heard last week, but we'll update you on the Five Below store. It's received its final approval on its final review for the building permit, and they should be opening very soon. And Harbor Freight's very close to being open as well. They're in the final stages. They've had a few final inspections that they're working through some comments on, but that should be open very soon. As far as things forthcoming to the Planning Commission, we've received another rezone request, which we will bring to the Planning Commission on the 13th for first review from another property. And we have a site plan amendment that's trying to get finalized and submitted. So it will also be on your April 13th agenda. So those two items are forthcoming. And we also have I have a legislative session, I guess you call it training or a follow-up legislative session. Sorry about that. I have a legislative session follow-up presentation tomorrow with the Utah League of Cities and Towns and the American Planners Association. So I will hopefully get some good documentation and information to share with you at a future date. And our attorney Steve Brooks will be going to one here in a couple weeks as well. And where appropriate land use wise, if he has anything additional to share with me, I'll be sure to convey to all of you. Also, with the state legislature, with the legislative session, one thing that you will need to be aware of, there was an updated training requirement. I think it's a land use retraining. There's minimum one time a year now. You have to go through some kind of basic land training. I'll have to see what that Bill states, and maybe Steve Brooks will be able to help me with that as well to make sure we get you the right training. But there's a new state code that was passed that includes annual training for planning commissioners, at least one time a year, on top of the other training that Mr. Brooks has to give you about
If you want to
conflicts
sit
and
there,
ethics
you
and that
can, or
sort of
it's
thing.
like if a lot of people come, I put a little chair for you
Finally,
right there.
just note that our city
You can sit
attorney,
there for now, you're
Steve
good.
Brooks, has joined us as well for the purposes of helping us with any legal questions or inquiries or challenges that may come up relative to the activities that we'll
Such an
be
exciting meeting.
performing and participating in tonight. And with that, I would defer to the Planning Commission if you have any questions for me, or we can move forward. Thanks.
No, you can take a seat. If you just would write your name on the log. Okay, perfect. You can take a seat.
I do have one question. Is it appropriate to inquire now? Sorry, I had problems logging in, so I don't know who's present with us tonight, but I'm assuming H&H is present, a representative from them for the rezone.
Yep, Mr. Steiner's here. And if Commissioner Anderson, if this is relative to the agenda item, we haven't quite got there yet.
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
Okay, did everybody check the meeting minutes from the work session and the regular meeting? Did you look through there? And is this sounding
Yes,
better?
it sounds way better.
Awesome.
That's good. Whatever you did, that's good.
When you were talking, I went into my audio and video settings on WebEx and tried to turn everything down and off. So glad that worked. Our action items: 1, a public hearing to receive and consider comments regarding a rezone request for property located at approximately 671 West, 4400 South, Riverdale, Utah 84405. A zoning change from mobile home park recreational vehicle park RMH1 zoning to multiple family residential R4, requested by H&H 39th Street LLC. Mr. Eggett?
Thank you. And I just want to note too, we did jump to consent items. I don't know if you want to go back and do that real quick or just have me move forward.
You're right.
I'm fine with it.
The meeting minutes from our work session and regular meeting. Anybody have any changes or? So now we'll move to the action item 1.
Perfect.
Amy, you should take a motion on that to approve consent items. Do a motion.
Isn't that Steve in the main session though? This is
Oh,
just a
that's
work
right.
session.
I'm sorry. My bad. I'm thinking we're already there. I'm ahead of you. Never mind.
I'm glad it's
Ignore
not
me.
me.
This is why I don't come that often. So
I'm just glad it's not me this time.
Okay, so on the action items, which A and B are pretty much the same thing. One's the public hearing, obviously, and the other is the item. First off, in talking about the public hearing, just as kind of guidance for Planning Commission, as a reminder of what we do with planning our public hearings. With a rezone request, you're looking for kind of a yes/no type of a discussion, and then a motion or a decision. You know, thumbs up, thumbs down. Are you supporting or not supporting the request? Following that, make sure you have findings. The findings are crucial. Findings in favor of why you're supportive of the decision or why you're not supportive of the decision, both ways. It helps the applicants understand, it helps the city council as it proceeds city council understand your rationale, and it obviously helps the public better understand your position in either way. So make sure that that's clear with the public hearing. As it relates to the actual agenda item, the applicant is H&H 39th Street LLC. They're represented by Mr. Matthew Steiner, who's joined us this evening, and Chris Hatch is also one of the participants in this request. He may or may not join us, I don't know. The property is located, as you stated, at 671 West, 4400 South. And the request is for R4 zoning, change from the RMH, the mobile home park recreational vehicle park zoning, to allow the possibility of a future development for some form of multiple family residential unit facilities on the property. And the application in your packet explains that further. Properties around this to the north are RMH1 and R5 zoning. To the east, it's the RMH1 zoning currently in the control and ownership of the Garf group, and then the Weaver River thereafter. Properties to the south are the C3 zoning and Riverdale Road, and properties to the west of this are C3 zoning. The acreage is 4.62 acres of land, near to 4400 South, Riverdale Road, and 700 West. And properties along those right-of-ways could be affected by the rezone request. As required by state code to allow for public commentary, that's why we're holding the public hearing. It's been noticed and scheduled to receive and consider the public comment this evening regarding the amendment to the zoning map. Prior to the public hearing, I have received multiple telephone inquiries regarding the request and details associated with this request. We've also received one letter which Miss Nay will share following the public comments this evening. I would say if I had to kind of put a numerical amount to the inquiry, I'd say maybe 8 to 10 phone calls requesting information about the rezone request. Following the public hearing, clearly you can then make a decision as far as a recommendation to City Council of support or not support, and make sure you have those findings of fact. The current ownership is shown on the county records as H&H 39th Street LLC, and the current property use is the mobile home park / recreational vehicle park residential area. I have invited, as I noted in the staff report, Mr. Brooks to be here for the purposes of questions that came up at the last meeting where I had a little bit of a gray area, and Mr. Steiner eloquently stated his position, which Mr. Brooks did support when I talked to him after the fact. Any rezone request that comes in, if were to be approved by the city, would then create a legal and non-conforming use for the existing uses on the property at a future date. So they still would be legally protected in that use on that. They just couldn't at that point bring forward any new trailers to the property at a future date, and all existing footprints of all the trailers then would be protected as far as if there was a fire or some kind of inclement issue with a trailer could be rebuilt to its existing footprint, just the same as any residential unit in the community. So that hopefully answers the question from our last meeting in this matter. As it relates to the general plan, I put a note. I'm just going to read this verbatim. It's in your packet, but I think it'll be helpful. I wrote, the general plan use for this area is currently set as residential medium density. The proposed rezone request and project concept requested use is partially in compliance with the land use designation is somewhat supported in the area by the general plan language for Area 7 of the Riverdale General Plan. However, the land use master plan definitions do not seem to support this request as it relates to the current designation of residential medium density. And then documentation regarding the Riverdale General Plan definition of residential medium density and language from General Plan Area 7 have been provided in the packet. For the purposes of the meeting and the discussion that will follow, I just wanted to highlight some of the general plan comments. They're in your packet. If you look at page 11 of your packet and beyond, I've highlighted areas at those points. And page 11, I've highlighted from our general plan statement says the purpose of the medium density residential zone R2 with rental unit R3 is to identify and encourage the development of a variety of medium housing density types and styles, including single family dwellings, 2-family dwellings, and 4-family dwellings. And then there's additional language. Hopefully you've had a chance to maybe read through some of that outlier language around these statements. On the next page, page 12 in your packet, I've highlighted under zoning for multifamily housing. There are 2 areas of the city that are zone R4, which is a medium / high density zone. One area is occupied by apartments and the other area has a number of single family dwellings currently existing on the property with additional undeveloped vacant property making up the area. The R3 zoned areas are considered a medium density. There are currently 4 areas of the city that are zoned R3. 3 of these areas contain 4-plex dwelling units. Only these areas would accommodate a 4-plex structure. Then if you move into Area 7, on page 13, I've included Area 7. Area 7 comprises the area surrounding the mobile home park, Leslie's mobile home park, to the river, and then it continues all the way to I-84 along the commercial district and includes some of the properties like the I forget the name of the PRUD there on 4450, but anyway, the PRUD development that's along 4450 behind the Riverdale crossing at 700. That's included in this area. And then it contains Riverdale Road and areas south of Riverdale Road all the way down